Chapter 12. Sarah Jane's father stood in the doorway, a silver-tipped cane in one hand, a heavy red and white foreclosure sign gripped in the other. Mr. Cabot's yellow hard hat with its Cadco logo was paired with a dark western-cut suit. His scowl looked unbreakable as he blocked the only exit from the room. "A cranky Cabot is bad for Sundance," the sheriff had said to Uncle Autry. "A cranky Cabot is bad for us all." A creep of crimson, as red as the foreclosure sign, colored Mr. Cabot's face as his stare drilled through me. He didn't look once at Sarah Jane. I guessed finding a strange boy talking to his daughter in the middle of his private room didn't make the man too happy. In fact, judging by the way the red in his cheeks was morphing into a deep and dangerous-looking purple, I guessed that I had, once in one fell swoop, just made Noble Cabot cranky. He dropped the sign with a heavy thud, letting it lean against the door jamb. "Sarah Jane, go to your room," he ordered. "I've told you before that you don't belong in here." Mr. Cabot's words were aimed at his daughter, but his eyes never left me once. Sarah Jane flushed. "But Daddy—" "Sarah Jane, do as I say!" Even without a remarkable talent backing him up, Mr. Cabot's voice had the same kind of power over Sarah Jane as Mom's had over me. Before her father could tell her again, Sarah Jane fled past him in a blur, knocking over the sign and stomping up the stairs. She slammed a door above us, rattling the entire house, as powerfully as my savvy might have done. Mr. Cabot didn't even blink. He continued to stare at me. I was just leaving." Jar or no jar, it was time for me to go. Tripping over the foreclosure sign, I tried to slip past Mr. Cabot, but he raised his cane, swish, to stop me. "Not so fast, young man." A telltale tingling itch crawled into my palms. I had to get out soon. Supersonic soon. I clenched my fists and focused on a spot on the floor between me and Mr. Cabot. Above us, Sarah Jane opened and closed her bedroom door again. Slam! And again. Slam! 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 Reminding everyone that, just because she was upstairs in her room, she hadn't disappeared. "You! What is your name?" Mr. Cabot demanded. "Who do you belong to?" I bit my tongue. Filled with freaked-out savvy fuel, my hands began to shake, and my skull buzzed like a big, round beehive on my shoulders. After what happened to my uncle's barn, I knew I could huff and puff and blow the Cabot's house down at any second. I knew it with a terrible, horrible, nauseating certainty. I was 3 crocodile clock ticks away from breaking family rules, ready to spill my guts and yell, "If I don't leave now, I'm going to destroy your house!" when the doorbell rang and saved me from Mr. Cabot, saving Mr. Cabot's house from me at the same time. I drew a deep breath and listened as the housekeeper opened the door. A moment later, she was standing behind Sarah Jane's dad, her brow creased at the sight of the buffalo head tilting precariously from the opposite wall. "What is it, Hida?" Mr. Cabot demanded without turning. "Mr. O'Connell's at the door, sir," Hida said, eyeing me with distaste. "He says he's looking for his nephew." The dragonflies, I thought. Autry's squadron of insects had taken off as soon as I'd reached the Cabot's house. While the bugs had seemed like a nuisance before, now I was grateful to them for getting my uncle here so fast. "Oh, canal!" Mr. Cabot spat, turning on the housekeeper as if she'd picked up a dirty word off the floor and jammed it in his ear. "Oh, canal!" Mr. Cabot left the room without another glance my way, smacking his cane against the fancy molding of the doorframe with a crack as he headed for the front door, like a bolt of lightning with a hitch in its jag. I followed quickly, ignoring the way every spindle in the stairrail jogged up and down in its setting, making the sound of a giant millipede running a marathon in wooden shoes as I passed by. Uncle Autry stood on the other side of the screen door. Beyond him, half a dozen gumball-sized spiders worked busily between the porch's ornate columns. The presence of the spiders was the only sign that my uncle wasn't as relaxed as he appeared. Autry's features, my bad, were calm and composed, his posture easy. Yet all 6 spiders looked like they'd sucked down 7 pots of super sweetened coffee. Beneath the eaves, chaotic, disorderly webs were going up faster than shake and bake subdivisions, each one big enough to nab an entire 13-year-old boy. I shot past Kabot as he reached the entryway, flying out the screen door. I pushed past Autry too, not even daring to pause. I felt just like I had at school, when I had to rush out of art class after looking too long at a weird painting of melting clocks. Only, on that day, a month before my birthday, Josh and Ryan had been there to drag me to the nurse's office, even while Big Mouth Brody announced to everyone that I'd barfed after getting freaked out by a painting. Though, now I wondered if it hadn't been some sort of savvy premonition. Ducking under the drooping webs draping Kabot's porch, I leaped the stairs and cleared the perimeter of the pointed iron fence, hustling past my uncle's white pickup, all without wrecking a single thing more. I leaned against a row of mailboxes across the street, not realizing my error until too late, when I toppled them all, 7 in one blow. I fell with them, making a ruckus racket. The din brought Sarah Jane to her window. She opened the circular pane set into the small tower at the very top of the old house and leaned out, shaking her head. Hobbled and kicking, I picked myself up, trying to be cool even though my left foot was trapped inside one of the curved aluminum mailboxes. I may have gotten free of Kabot's sideshow study, but I still looked like a clown in a 3-ring circus. All I needed was a banana peel, an exploding cigar, and a human cannon launcher. Then my life would be complete.